Friday box office is in, and James Gunn's Superman made an estimated $34 million on opening day, or a tad higher than the previously reported 32.5. However, this Superman is running neck and neck with Zack Snyder's Man of Steel in terms of dollars, although it's no contest when the box office is adjusted for ticket price inflation. When you include the $22.5 million from previews, Superman's total box office stands at $56.5 million through July 11th, 2025. You may see others report $56.5 as the Friday gross, but that is incorrect. Again, $56.5 is the total, but Friday alone was $34. Now, back in 2013, Man of Steel had $12.1 million in previews and a $44 million Friday for a $56.1 total at the same point. Kind of the same, but that's before adjusting for ticket price inflation. Ticket prices have risen at least 40% since 2013, so Man of Steel's 56 is more like over 78 today. Projecting for the weekend, if Superman's $34 million on Friday is a firm number, that suggests that it's headed for roughly $98 million for the weekend proper, with a $121 million total through Sunday. Without even adjusting for inflation, Man of Steel did $116.6 for the weekend, with a $128.7 total. In all fairness, though, Man of Steel did benefit from Father's Day landing on its first Sunday. But the new Superman, of course, benefits from 2025 ticket prices, so let's adjust Man of Steel. You see that 116.6 becomes over 163, and that 128.7 becomes over 180. Father's Day gave it a boost, but nowhere near enough to account for Man of Steel's nearly 50% advantage here. So where does Superman's $34 million opening day rank among Superman movies of this century? It ranks third, behind Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and of course Man of Steel. Superman Returns ranks last, but to be fair, it was muted by a Wednesday debut versus the typical Friday launches of the rest. A note on these charts, the smaller numbers on the right side, you see, are the final total grosses and the release dates. Now, when you adjust for ticket price inflation, the rankings stay the same, but you see that Justice League and Superman Returns aren't really that far behind the new Superman. And here's Superman versus some notable recent comps. Matt Reeves' The Batman is most relevant here in regards to the future of the DC universe, and Superman fell a tad short. The Batman came in at $134 million through its first Sunday versus the $120-ish that Superman will get. And then there's Black Adam, which was The Rock's attempt to take charge of DC, and it even had a Henry Cavill Superman cameo. Well, the new Superman shellacked that one, 34-19. Now, checking out Marvel, Superman's launch was a bit higher than James Gunn's last picture, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which had a $118.4 million total through its first Sunday. I included Thor, Love and Thunder, and Spider-Man Homecoming here because they opened on the same July weekend as Superman, and both were bigger. Spidey is a good comp, actually, because it was also a reboot of an A-list superhero. But also note that there's been at least 25% ticket price inflation since 2017, so Homecoming's opening day was more like $45 million, and its Sunday tally closer to $150. Now, let's set aside these older movies for a moment and see Superman in the context of 2025. Superman had the third biggest day of the year, behind a Minecraft movie and Lilo and Stitch. And it's easily the biggest among superhero movies, topping Captain America: Brave New World and Thunderbolts. Now, what about audience reception? According to CinemaScore's polling, Superman scored an A-, tying Man of Steel, but beating Batman v Superman, which got a B. But it was also lower than the straight A's of James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. And a note on international box office before I wrap up here. Superman has pulled in an estimated $40 million from 78 markets through Friday. Add in domestic, and the worldwide haul is $96.5 million through Friday. That worldwide total is expected to rise north of $210 million through Sunday, but Superman is just not as strong internationally as it is domestically. Man of Steel was even more formidable globally, ending its run at $670 million worldwide, which is like over 900 if you adjust for inflation. So I must reiterate that the new Superman has to leg out beyond the norm to set the new DC universe up for future success. So stay tuned to Box Office Revival to find out if Superman will live up to the pressure. This has been Brandon Gray, creator of Box Office Mojo. Thank you for watching.